Hey, everybody, welcome back. Devin, the OG, the original Grognard. Yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. Here we are back. World of War 85. Storm and Steel. The expansion. Second wave. Czechoslovakian versus West German forces. We're playing Scenario 5, Raid on Regensburg. Yes, I like doing that when I say I like to enunciate the R's when I speak German. It's a silly thing. Don't question me. All right. As is often the case when I do my playthroughs, I make a lot of rules mistakes. I do not tout myself as someone you watch videos to learn what the rules are because I'm going to get them wrong. I tout my videos as, hey, I'm just your everyday wargamer guy, probably not the brightest, doing what I can, play a game, show you the general gist how it's played, and you can make the decision from there. And even though this is one of the rule sets I am very familiar with and have more knowledge of than most other systems I play, I still make mistakes. Case in point, we have 3 things I have to go over from the last video. And again, thank you to Keith for pointing these out to me. And Keith, I will say I pray for your soul when this drops in the hands of everybody else out there, because I know you've been answering a lot of my rules questions that I've been trying to clear up here lately, and I can just imagine what it's going to be when everybody else gets their copies. So I pray for your soul, Keith. First thing, the solo assistant deck can handle off-board artillery. I just like the way I do it better. So if you want to know how the solo assistant deals with it, you can read it when you read the rules. All right, so that was kind of a minor issue. Second issue, and I don't know why I did this. Cultivated is 2 movement points for vehicles to move through, not 1. I don't know why I said 1. I know it's 2, but anyways, regardless. And the other one was kind of a big one. Where's one of my T80 or T80s? Where's one of my T55s? Okay, T55 AM2. I was saying last time I watched or played that I don't think they have enhanced move and fire. And I didn't want to pull out the unit card because it was buried way deep in my box, and I didn't want to waste any time trying to drag it out. Well, I probably should have taken the time to drag it out because T55 AM2, and let's take a look at our great Storming the Gap, Storm and Seal, Second Wave Czechoslovakian unit card. There is 2 of these cards for each nationality in the game, covering all the units and well, yeah, basically all the units. So if you ever have a question about a unit or what it can do, you pull out one of these cards. So anyways, all right, so what do we got here? Here we go. T55, 33 points. So if you're doing a build your own, each one of these T55s is 33 points. T55 AM2, main battle tank, yada, yada, yada. All right, we got steps. We got HQ leader bonus all the way over here to, where is it? Where is it? Enhanced move and fire right there. Wink. Cross-reference. T55. Enhanced move and fire. Yes, it does have enhanced move and fire. And another way I could have known that, if I'd have been a little bit more aware, is our handy-dandy move and fire summary chart. Again, another chart from the game. Look at that, move and summary fire chart. Oh, isn't that so cool? So, sample units, not all. Nation unit and firepower. So, any ground unit with black, blue, or green AP and HE, it breaks down, expend at least 1 movement point up to half movement for move and fire, expend more than half movement point prohibited. Okay. Soviet pack allied unit with orange AP or HE. Well, if you noticed, the T55, if we can get it to focus. Sometimes I hate this camera. Sometimes it automatically focuses, other times it doesn't. Yeah, they've got the orange number right there. Yeah, so with orange AP or HE, they do have enhanced move and fire. Expend at least 1 movement point up to half their movement, minus 1 firepower dice. Expend more than 1/2 of their movements to full movement, minus 2 firepower dice. So And then, of course, you've got the other specials like NATO and Allied with orange HE. Then they are even better on the move. Suffering no effects at half movement and -1 firepower dice at full movement. Good bit of information to know and remember. Those of you who have played the last game, you may remember it was by vehicle type, and it was a huge cluster F to try to remember which units had move and fire, which had enhance, which didn't. Yeah, the new system, color-coded. Boom, you just got to remember what the color codes are sometimes. So, when I was up here, when I was initially moving around up here, and I had the T-55s move into this hex, and I had moved over half their movement, I could have fired at the Leo. Now, since I had moved over half my movement, it would have been -2 dice on to hit. So my 3 dice at 6 would have become a 1 dice at 6. Mathematically, it still was probably better for me to do the assault to get the 2 dice at 4 with each vehicle rather than 1 dice at 6. But I needed to correct myself because they did have, they do have enhanced movement fire. There you go. All right. So, and honestly, trying to integrate my normal playthrough of World War 85 with a solo assistant, I think those 3 rules, I think I'm doing pretty good so far. I haven't come across any other big rules boo-boos. I'm sure I will. That's just the way it is. All right, so we're still in turn 1. So now what I'm going to do is we are at formation draw phase. Now, just because I am by general list a cynical and untrusting individual, I'm going to go ahead and reshuffle the formation deck because there's a part of me that thinks, all right, yeah, he didn't shuffle the cards between. He shut off the video. He could have stacked the deck any way he wanted to. Well, just to prove that I didn't stack the deck any way I wanted to. Although, honestly, there was a small part of me that said, I could really set it up really cool and have the rest of the turn go out the way. But no, we're not doing that. We're playing it straight. We're playing it clean. So let's go ahead and draw the next action card. 1 241 Panzer. So they get to move again, which is a little bit distressing. All right, through sequence of turn, we know we go ahead, remove markers, remove out of command, remove ops complete. Now, this is the thing with the solo assistant. Anytime you get to a marker removal phase, you reshuffle the deck. Oh, real quick. One thing I did want to point out that I've been forgetting to forget the last couple of videos. The last part of the card, the anatomy of the card, you've got 2 little 6-sided dicers up here. If you don't want to roll dice, if you just want to draw a card for either 1 dice or 2 dice, all the cards have got these in the upper right-hand corner. So, you've got, if you don't want to roll dice, you just want to pull cards. Oh, there you go. All right, so since we're at the marker removal phase, we reshuffle the deck, but we only had 2 cards to reshuffle. So I'm just going to stick them into the deck randomly. And shuffle. All right, good enough. Good to go. I'm happy with that. All right, so now we got to decide where we're going to put the HQ. So let's see. Is the good HQ good there? 1, 2, 3. We know we need to have everybody within 5 hexes. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to take the HQ. Whoops. And shift it back to the infantry in the village. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. No, that's going to put the artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's going to put the artillery out of range. I could have swore I had him so he'd be closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, everything but that pesky artillery. Oh, well, I think this will get us the maximum amount of troops in the headquarters command range. So we'll go ahead and put it there. Check for command. We've got 1 unit that's out of command. Roll command level or less. That's a 7. All right, so she's good. She's in command. She is within command range. So now we need to start deciding Oh, the next step is onboard or offboard artillery fire. Nobody's got line of sight. Nobody's on the ridge line. The only unit that could see straight across potentially be this Jaeger, but those guys are behind the woods, so he can't see them. Or no, he could. That's right. Got to remember, woods is level 1. So he can see where, oh, he can see that hex. All right, so I could drop, or try to drop, our last aerial deployed minefield right there. No, not yet. I think we're good with that. I don't think we're going to have them drop the artillery. Yep, I think we're good with that. All right, so now we go into orders phase. So nobody. Oh well, actually, he's in line of sight. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's 9 hexes away to the closest unit, and he has got a range of 13. So that's going to be normal range for him. So he can actually see those guys and those guys. Because you got to remember, the woods is below the hill. Oh no, the hill. Oh, there are woods on the hill slope. That changes things. Okay, so he can't see beyond there. Okay, so the entire point was moot anyways, because I failed to notice that these guys were on the ridge line or above the ridge line, which put them on the hill, which would put them above the hill. So line of sight was blocked. See, aren't you glad I point these things out and catch these things sometimes? Because yeah, sometimes I usually don't. And I'm sure Keith was having a heart attack when I was going over that. Sorry, Keith. And my next door neighbors are making lots of noise. Hope you don't not hearing them. Okay, so basically everything we've got is out of line of sight. So it doesn't matter who we're pulling cards for, because we take a look at AoE orders. We go straight to the secondaries, because you remember the colored priorities are only if you have line of sight. So here we go. We start at the first one. Disrupted AEO closest to a PU. If in 0 dB, move towards cover. Oh my God, that's worse acronyms than when I was in the Navy, when we had, ComNav Sub 4 Pack 7. Yeah, that's an actual acronym for command in the military. Anyway, so disrupted AEO, automated enemy. What is the AEO? Well, it's the bad guys. The units that are being played under the guard. Closest to a PU player unit. Okay, so disrupted AoE closest to a player unit. First of all, we got nobody that's disrupted, so honestly, this command, this line is going to be ignored. But if this was good, if in 0 dB, move towards cover. Okay, so if we had to disrupt it closest to a player unit, if it was in 0 defensive bonus, then it would move towards cover. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, largest group of good order AEOs closest to a VO, victory objective, or unit. All right, so we don't have anybody, because largest group of good order closest to okay, so it's a fire command, but we don't have line of sight on anybody, so we can't do that command. So next one, disrupted AEO closest to a unit. Again, we have no disrupted AEO, so this command is not going to be fulfilled. So we go to the next one. And honestly, if you run out of them, usually it's execute victory conditions or victory or executive counteractions. So you got two different types. You've got counteractions and you've got victory conditions. You've got defensive counteractions, offensive counteractions, and victory conditions. So, and basically, if you have a counteraction and you're on a defense or offensive stance, or the computer, the AI is on whatever stance, you just go to that one. But this is execute victory conditions. So you start off with condition 1. Eligible AEO attempt to eliminate enemy units in a victory objective in LOS. Well, there is none. So again, nothing there. Condition 2. Vehicle stack with AP, HE, assault victory point closest to victory, assault firepower closest to victory hex, not controlled by AoE, moves towards. Okay, so let's break this down. Okay, so this is basically a command that if for whatever reason I don't control, or the bot doesn't have control of the victory hex, the AoE will move towards it. Again, not a condition, so to be able to be fulfilled, so you go to the next one. Infantry stack or unit closest to victory hex not controlled by AoE. They control both of them, so that one's another one that's ignored. Vehicle stack or vehicle closest to exit hex moves towards. All right, we do have an exit hex. The Soviets are trying to exit units off of that roadway right there. They got to capture the village first, but we can fulfill this condition. Vehicle stack or vehicle closest to exit hex move towards. So what does that mean? Basically, the closest unit we have is either going to be the Gepards or that Martyr. Now, it says vehicle, doesn't say infantry. So the vehicle move towards. So you know what? Fine. Okay, cool. I can live with that. We can give that order to command the Gepard to move out of the village and move down. And they're going to try to block the victory exit. All right, that's a plausible move. So there we go. We're done with that. That's a command. There we go. We're done. So now we discard that card, and do we want to continue activating units? I think we do. So again, no priority orders because nothing's within line of sight. AoE closest to a unit that just acted. Okay, well, we don't have any AEOs that are close to well, I guess it would be any ops complete, but not line of sight, so we can't fire. Highest firepower AEO closest to the lowest firepower unit, fire. Again, no line of sight. Now, you got to remember, if you're thinking, well, if you have secondaries that are only out of line of sight, how do they have fire commands? Well, you also got to remember, there are going to be priority commands sometimes that you're unable to fulfill regardless how it goes, and that flips down into the secondary. Remember, AoE primary priorities are for you pull for a specific unit in a line of sight. Secondaries can be affected by anybody. So you may pull a card for a unit, not be able to fulfill its command. So then you'll flip to the secondary, which means any unit can do it. So, all right, here we go. AEO closest to a unit that just acted. AoE closest to a unit that just acted or victory objective move towards. All right, so, well, okay, here we go. This is technically the closest AEO, the AEO closest to a unit that just activated, which would be this one right here. And it says move towards. And I will say this is the one thing that I do see as kind of the weakness of the deck, is that if you have the bot playing defensive, the bot ends up playing very offensively as a defense. There are defense-specific cards in here, as you can tell those because those have the little shield at the bottom, and it is more a defense-oriented pull. But most of the other 2/3 of the deck are kind of standard middle-of-the-road commands, which tend to be a little bit aggressive. So when you're playing the bot as the defender, you're going to have a very aggressive defender. So be prepared. So we're going to go with it, or roll with it, or whatever. Hey, cool. Let's do it. So that was that just acted move towards. Okay, now the great thing about move towards, it doesn't say move an assault, but part of a move towards can also include an assault move. And I can prove this because it specifically shows it in one of the examples of play. It doesn't say it in the rules, but it does say in the example of play that a player can make an executive decision that part of a move towards can also be an assault. Well, you know what? We got a couple T-55s right here that are disrupted. We got a move towards command, move right here, and then move right there to assault them. It's not a bad idea. I can get away with doing that. Now, well, actually, I don't see why I wouldn't, because there's no op fire to be had. The Czechoslovakians are all marked ops complete. If that one wasn't marked ops complete, I would have line of sight, because you got to remember, that's just a cultivated. I can see through one hex of cultivated, so I could do op fire. So yeah, I mean, really, right now, I'm not seeing any reason not to assault with that Leo. There's no defensive fire, so we're just going to go ahead. It's going to be one movement point because we're moving along the road. And then 2 movement points. I mean, I guess you could say, well, he's already in the hex and he's following the rules. Anyways, it's going to be 1 movement point there and then 2 movement points to move into cultivated, because cultivated is 2 movement points for vehicles. So we've got assaults, close assault. Let's go ahead and roll for the Leo first, 2 dice at 4. The good thing about assault, almost everybody has the same assault. All right, so we got a 6. So that's 1 hit. Now we're assaulting defended or disrupted units. Disrupted units fight with their normal strength of 2 dice. However, they only hit on 6s because they're disrupted. So the 2 T55s are going to have 4 dice at 6, and it doesn't matter if I roll them separately or not. It's all 1 collected firepower. And we got 1 hit. All right. So we got 1 hit on each side. Okay. First of all, let's figure out who wins the hex. The attacker did not get more hits than the defender, so they did not claim the hex, so they get pushed back out. So, or they get pushed back to the hex that they originated from. So, Warsaw Pact inflicted 1 hit. 1 hit is a disrupt. So that Leo unit is disrupted. And we'll mark them ops complete. Pack units also took 1 hit. Now, both of their units are disrupted. So if you're disrupted and take a hit, it's a step loss. I think we're going to put the step loss on the unit that hasn't taken a step loss yet. That's probably a good idea. So there we go. You know, honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head if the hits are applied randomly or not. Don't yell at me if I got the rule wrong. I'm admitting I may get the rule wrong. I'm just going to make this call and say it goes on the unit that hadn't taken the hit yet. So there we go. So, could have been better. Could have been a lot better. But continue drawing cards. Let's see. AoE closest to a target, move towards. Well, they're the one closest to a target. 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, he's not going to be able to get. See, this is I kind of don't like having the defenders run the bot. I'm realizing this now because again, it plays very, very aggressively. Even last turn, I decided to pull them back. Should I play that as cards? You know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's just go ahead and play it out. Cards is drawn. AoE closest to a target, move towards. So AoE closest to a target, that would be these guys, move towards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's go ahead and reinforce this disrupted guy just in case. So yeah, they decided they wanted to move up and move into this hex with their disrupted buddies, just in case the Soviets decide that they want to come twirling on down the hill and overrun them. Yeah, I don't see that turning out well. All right, next one, disrupted AoE closest to a VO. All right, we don't have any disrupteds. Highest firepower AoE closest to a disrupted unit. Fire, nothing in line of sight. AoE closest to a target, move towards. Again, it's going to be, the closest is going to be this infantry down here, and I really don't want to move this infantry out. It just doesn't make any sense to give up the victory location. So we're going to ignore that one and go on to execute the last command, which would be, come on, focus. Execute victory conditions. So again, we look at the victory conditions flowchart. I think the last one we got towards AEO vehicle stack or vehicle closest to exit hex move towards. Well, are any of those? Well, that would probably be these guys, moving them towards the victory location. Again, this is where you got to make a decision. You know what? No, we're not gonna do that command on him because we want him covering the ridge line. Again, this is a player decision. If I honestly think that if you play the cards as they are played, it's not going to go real well for the AEO. That's why you've got to make executive decisions for the solitary assistant sometimes. However, what we are going to do is we are going to have this mortar, because mortar's not going to be able to fire at anybody. We're going to have them move closer. Then we're going to have them go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's move them right. Yeah, that's good right there. Move them right there like that. And then they'll be ready to, well, they'll be closer than command range. So we, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I did it again. Those guys are out of command range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Having a horrible time keeping everybody together. All right, but you know what? I think we're going to keep it with that. We want to preserve some of our ability. Well, what's the end of the turn? Oh, yeah. The Czechoslovakians have not moved yet. We want to preserve some of our firing for an ability to do op fire. So that's going to be the end of that phase. So let's draw a card. End of operations. All right, well, that basically ends the turn. We did move the motorized rifle regiment already. We didn't get the battlefield event friction. All right, so that's going to end the turn. And that removes markers. So let's go ahead and remove a bunch of markers. Times like times like this, I wish I had a really big pair of tweezers. But, you know, honestly, these counters are so gloriously big as it is. I don't have too much of a hard time getting my fat fingers in there. All right, so basically this was a marker removal phase. Marker removal phase means reshuffle the deck. We only had, what, 4 or 5 cards? I'll just go ahead and slip the cards in and shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Part of me, since there's been a preponderance of card-assisted games that have come out in recent years, and I hate shuffling cards as it is, there's a part of me that's been thinking of getting one of those automated card shufflers that they like use in Vegas, but I think those are really, really hard on the cards, and they're really expensive for a good one. So let's go ahead and shuffle these up. So no one can accuse me of any malfeasance for stacking the deck. Put those there. And we're on to turn 2. So we just move the turn track up to turn 2. T2. That begs the question, what's on the back side of that? Oh, it's just a blue T. Okay, it's blue T on either side. Not that you have to worry about marking, you know, which half of the turn you're in, like a I go, you go system. This being an impulse system at all. All right, so back to the start of, or back into operations. So let's pull a formation card. 241 Panzer. All right, now we're starting to see, it's like, wow, that's 3 activations that the Germans have had since we first drew a card. Okay, now here we need to know a little bit of timing because of how the disrupted unit out of command is. Okay, formation. Refresh, remove ops complete and out of command markers. Right. Command status, reassign leaders, deploy headquarters, and check for command effects. Okay, so we have to check for being out of command before we check for removal, because I believe if you're out of command, you cannot roll to become undisrupted. And as it stands right now, though, that Leo is out of command. So let's check. I know, I'm checking the rule book. I'm sorry. Out of command. Page 38. Let's see. Check if units are out of command. Out of command. May not execute any actions during the upcoming action step of this formation. However, they may execute opportunity fire in an enemy formation. Oh, you can still op fire if you're disrupted. Or if you're out of command. Oh, out of command. Yeah. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. All right, so let's check disrupted. The disrupted rules. if a disrupted unit can roll disruption, page 64. Disruption effects. May not direct fire or spot for indirect. May move, but may not move closer to an enemy LOS. In LOS. They might move for... Huh. I can't see anything specifically right away. Yeah, Keith is going to have to weigh in on this because I can't, under my cursory examination, I'm not going to spend any more time on it. I'm just going to make an executive decision that, well, they can still move, so why not? I check to see. Well, the whole thing is actually kind of moot because I need to decide, or will be moot depending on what I decide to do with the headquarters. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the same problem we had last time. Do I move my headquarters up there to get these guys in command, which will leave everybody else out of command? Or do I leave it back here and run the risk of those guys being out of command? Well, you know what? Let's leave the headquarters back here. Let's leave the headquarters back there. So we're going to have to roll for those 2 units to see if they're in command. Again, command rating is a 7. We'll do it for the undisrupted unit. That's a 3. They're good to go. Should probably put this closer so you can see the dice roll because my greasy fingers have gotten all over the glass and you can't see through it real well. The disrupted unit, 7. So they are in command. So, okay, the entire thing about if they can roll for undisrupted if they're command or not is a moot point because they're in command. But probably is still good rules. Judgment to get for future references. So now we roll to see if we undisrupt them. I need another 7 or less. And there we go, 5. So they are undisrupted. This could kind of be pretty bad for the pack forces up here. All right. You know what? Yeah, I think what we're going to do is, we are... Okay, next we step into indirect. We are going to go ahead and lay out our last aerial depleted or aerial deployed minefield. And just because I'm showing this, I should probably find the fire for effect counter just so people can see how it's supposed to be done procedurally rather than me just, is it in here? The problem is I don't know which bag it's in. So it's a single counter. Thought it'd been in that bag. If I can't find it within a couple seconds, then we'll just continue to go on and I'll try to look for it off camera. Yeah, I can't find it right away. So anyway, so yes, again, there's supposed to be a fire for effect counter we put down, but I can't seem to find it because it's a single counter out of about 100 counters in those baggies over there. All right, so, but what we are going to do, you know what? Instead of a fire for effect, we're just going to put down random minefield marker. So we're going to put that there as what we want to call the strike in on. Now, since it is not a headquarters or a recon unit that is trying to do it, we have to roll a spotting check to see if they got comms with the offboard artillery to be able to call in the strike. And this is, again, just a straight up command roll. So we'll take the first M1, or the first Leo, and they rolled a 7. So they got the spotting check off. So that means they were able to call in, get communications with command, and get the artillery strike off. Had they failed that spotting check, they would have been marked ops complete. However, since the spotting check was successful, they aren't marked with an ops complete. Don't ask me, I don't know. So anyways, we're trying to make that the fire for effect location. Now we got to roll to see if it scatters. If you remember from the last video, the last minefield that I dropped scattered all over the hill and gone, and I lost the artillery strike. So it'll scatter on a 6. Woohoo, we got a 3. It doesn't scatter. Now with aerial deployed minefields, you can put 3 minefield markers out. And each one that we put out has to be adjacent to one that's been previously placed before. So we got that one that's right there. And you know what? Let's go ahead and drop it right there. And we're going to go ahead and drop the third one right there. Now, the cool thing about aerial dispersed minefields, and you'll also kind of notice those are minefield random. There are minefield placed markers. So you have the ability to tell the difference between minefields that are placed before a scenario begins and those that are deployed with aerial mines. And off the top of my head, I can't remember there being any real difference between the two other than how they're placed. I do not think there's any dice roll differences. But anyways, all right, so now what does that mean? Well, first of all, there are minefields now in each one of those hexes. Anybody that moves into that, oh, that's the difference. A placed minefield, an allied unit that has a placed minefield on the board can move into it without detonating the mines. So if the West Germans had placed minefields on here, and they are, and you know, we've marked them as a placed minefield, Germans could move through them safely. Czechs would have to roll to see if they set them off when they move in. Random minefields is everybody gets hit with them if you move in regardless. Now, like I said, the one other cool thing, and I've mentioned this in the last video, ADMs also kind of work as kind of a poor man's cluster munition, because as the mines are hitting and landing, they're being set off. So we actually have to roll for casualties in those hexes, kind of like we would if they were, well, just like it was any other artillery hex. Now let's go ahead for offboard artillery. And I'm fairly certain, oh yeah, it's a 1 through 3, nothing. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, or 3, no effect. 4, 5, 1 hit. 6, 2 hits. And you roll this individually. So let's go ahead and start here. We've got 2 T-55s. So let's roll for the first one. Remember, 1, 2, 3, nothing. 4 is 1 hit. 5 is 2 hits. Okay, we got a 2, so it's nothing on the first T-55. Second T-55 is a 1, so nothing there. In this hex, we have 2 T-55 units. Roll for the first one. We rolled a 6. Ooh, that's 2 hits. That's not good. And it's the unit that's attached to the headquarters. Or that the headquarters is attached to. Come on, there we go. Back out. All right, so it takes 2 hits. First hit disrupt, second hit flips. The headquarters was attached to that, so we have to roll to see, since the unit that it was attached to took a casualty, we have to roll to see if bad things happen to the HQ. I think it's only on a 6, and then it's a -2 to the dice roll if the unit that the headquarters was attached to was destroyed. Roll to 3. Regardless, either way, it doesn't really matter. So the headquarters still is in good order, attached to that T-55. Now we have to roll for the second T-55 in that hex. That's a 2, no effect. So, and then we've got a T-55 in that last hex back there. 3, nothing. All right, so not as good as I had hoped. But, you know, you basically have a 50-50 chance of doing something to every single unit when you drop an ADM. Now, the rules say that when an ADM... Okay, let's get the exact rules, because the rules are a little bit... I'll get to what I'm trying to see. Offboard artillery... 73. Okay. Fire for effect. Scatter. Strike procedure 4. Okay. Once the strike, no save permitted, yada, yada, yada. We know that. Once the strike has been resolved, the minefield random markers remain in place for the rest of the game unless depleted or breached as usual. See 16.22 for minefield depletion. So 16.22 for minefield depletion. After a unit has been attacked by... Okay, I guess it isn't as vague as I thought. After a unit has been attacked by a minefield marker of either type. So it says either type, so it would be... Okay, so basically, I've had 3 hexes. Each one of the minefield hexes attacked something. There's a chance for it to deplete. It's a 6 on a 6-sided dice. Then the minefield is depleted and removed. So we'll go ahead and start with the first one right here. Nope. roll for depletion on that one. 6. All right, well, West Germans are just not having any luck with the minefields. And the final minefield, roll depletion for that. 3. No. All right. So, I'm feeling bad for the West Germans. All right, so that was the West Germans off-board artillery. Now, we go, well, just as normal, we go right back into drawing commands. Now, we do have units that are in line of sight. So, and since they're at point blank range of 11, normal range of 11, closest enemy unit in line of sight is range 1. It's point blank. So we look at, oh, here we go. With a red number, assault if firepower is greater than the target. So, if my assaulting firepower is greater than the target, then I'll assault. And honestly, I'm going to say my firepower is greater, mainly because, oh, that's a random minefield. Ooh, would they? I really don't think they would willingly drive into their own minefield. Stupid autofocus. Okay, so anyways, yeah, I don't think they're going to assault. And I don't think they're going to run around. So anyway, so we ignore the first white triangle. So that one is not applicable, or we're just not going to do it. And the second one, fire. All right, fire we can do. That's easy. So we're going to take the first unit, or either one of the Leo units. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't say stack. It just says, it doesn't specifically say stack. So we're just going to go one unit at a time. And you really don't combine stacks of fire anyways. Well, you can, but no, we're not going to. All right, so we're going to fire at these T-55s, these 2 disrupted T-55s. Well, actually, we're only just going to fire at one of them. So 4 dice at 5. So it's actually going to be 4 dice at 5, but since they're at point blank range, it increases our firepower by 1, so it's 4 dice at 4. And we got 1 hit. Great. 1 hit. All right, so we look at the T-55. They've got an armor of 2 dice at 5. And they're in cultivated, but cultivated doesn't give them any defensive bonus. How do we know this? It's on the terrain effects chart. Terrain effects chart says vehicles do not get a defensive bonus in cultivated. Infantry do, but not vehicles. So it's going to just be a straight 2 dice at 5 armor save. And 5. So you got 1 save compared it to the 1 hit that the Leo got. So that they negated each other. No damage, no effect. And that unit is marked fired or ops complete. And let's go on to the next card. Okay, fire. So the closest unit in line of sight of something is going to be the other Leo unit. So the second Leo unit is going to fire. Again, well, you know what? Maybe you should fire at this T-55 back here. See, this is another part where you kind of got to, it doesn't say fire at closest. It just says fire. So that means you have the option of deciding where exactly you're going to fire. So we're going to take him, we're going to fire at the undisrupted T-55 back here because those 2 are disrupted. There's 1 disrupted right there. And I think it's just more beneficial to fire at an undisrupted unit. Well, at least for the NATO Warsaw Pact, I'd say Warsaw Pact needs to pick on the disrupted units a little bit more because it's harder for them to get 2 or 3 hits sometimes. So if you don't have to worry about the first hit being a disrupted, you want to actually reduce enemy units. I would say that Pact forces need to pick on disrupted units. NATO forces, they've got so many attack dice that it's more worth them going after full strength units. So that's what we're going to do in this case. We're going to go after that full strength T-55. 4 dice at 5, but it's still within point blank range. So it's 2 dice at 4. It's within 2 hexes. You can't see beyond 2 hexes of cultivated, so we're good to go there. So it's going to be 4 dice at 4, and hey, we got 3 hits this time. That is a very good chance that is going to be a dead T-55 because he's only got 2 dice at 5 defensive. He might save 1. 1 and 2. Nope, he doesn't save any. So all 3 hits get through. First hit disrupts. Second hit inflicts a hit, which flips it to its reduced side. Third hit wipes it out. Boom, there we go. First blood to the Leos. And since we destroyed a vehicle unit, we put a Rex marker out there. Now notice it says Rex as in plural and has multiple vehicles on there. So we put that in the hex. Now that will give, Rex do give a defensive bonus to vehicles because, well, honestly, you're hiding behind the corpses of your buddies. And then that marks him as ops complete. Now, do we want to pull any cards? I don't think we want to activate any more units. I mean, we could activate this guy, but he really, I could have tried to use one of the Leos to spot like I did with the offboard artillery, but that could have blown one of the Leo's chances to fire. And Leos obviously have a better chance of doing something with their 4 dice at 4 rather than the 3 dice at 5 that the mortars have. The Gepard, I like the Gepard being right there. I don't think we want the Gepard coming out of its little hidey hole. And actually, that can get some defensive fire on its own on the ridge. Remember, it's got a range 18 with armor piercing. Granted, it's 2 dice at 5, but you know it can see the ridge line. Basically, everything. Well, even these guys can see. Even the mortars could see the ridge line. So yeah, I mean, basically, everybody right now can see that ridge line and can get an opportunity fire off when the Czechoslovakians. Yeah, okay. I don't think I'm going to pull any more cards. I think we're going to be good to go for there and be done with the 1st Company 241st Mountain Panzer Battalion. So we go ahead and step into the next formation draw. And what do we got? End of ops. End of ops. Well, it happens like that sometimes. All right, so what has happened? Basically, we hit our 2 end of operations cards. However, we still have a formation that did not activate this turn. 479th Motorized Rifle Regiment did not activate this turn. That means they are going to have a chance to activate regardless in the next turn. And just so we get it out of the way now, let's go ahead and bump it up to turn 3. We go ahead, how do we do this? Oh yeah, it's the operation. You take one of the end of operations cards, set it off to the side, and you set the headquarters unit for every unit that didn't activate this turn on it. Then you will go back through, shuffle the formation cards as normally to get your formation deck. And that second end of operations card will not go back into the formations deck until all the headquarters that were not activated the previous turn have activated. So even if for some reason the Czechoslovakian formation card is the last card to be pulled in the deck, they'll still get their activation. Then this end of operations card will get shuffled back into the remaining formation, even if it's the last card, ensuring that you'll at least get an activation every other turn, regardless of how things roll down. So go ahead and put that there. We got that off to the side. We moved to turn 3. And since it was turn 3, or we're moving into at the end of turn 2, it's remove all markers. Again, remove all markers, reshuffle in. So let's just go ahead. Shuffle the cards again. Put them off to the side. Start of turn 3. Let's draw a formation card. Hey, there we go. 479th Motorized Rifle Regiment. All right, so now what does that mean? Formation has been activated. We take the headquarters unit, take the end of operations card, and shuffle it back into the deck. Like so. Although I will say, I think This is the one advantage chits have is over cards. You just throw it in the chit and shake the cup up. This one, the cards, if you really want to and can keep an eye on it, you can kind of shuffle the deck the way you want to. All right. So, marker removal. There's no marker removal. But we do have to place our headquarters. Now we have to decide where we want this headquarters unit to go. I think we want it right here. That still catches everybody. Actually, no. Let's put it right. Well, there's only one unit there. There's only one unit there. Let's go ahead and put it here. Command range is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, nope, we're going to have put it there. 1, 2, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so right there, everybody is going to be within command range. So I don't have to worry about rolling out of command. Which I would do right now if we had any units out of command. We don't. We have disrupted units to roll for. And there it is. Okay, so let's start with this one. This disrupted unit right here. My command rating is a 6. And that's a 9. That's nothing. So we've got a disrupted unit here. But they're stacked with the headquarters. If you remember, the headquarters has got a command rating of 2 on it. So you have 2 added to the, or modified the command rating by 2. So I need an 8. And we rolled a 6 or 5. Good math is hard. So that removes that disrupted marker. However, they're still in the minefield. Good thing is, you only check for a minefield. When do you check for minefield? Is it moving into, or I think it's moving into? Yeah, it's moving into, and I think it costs extra to move out of. When we get to that, I'll worry about checking it. All right, so now we're going into my regular command phase. Offboard artillery, I don't have any, so now I just have my normal shooty, fire things. Well, I think one of the first things I'm going to have to do is, oh, I had 2 units there. Oh, and both of them were disrupted. Crap, I need to roll for the second unit. 5. Okay, so both units there are good. So I think we're going to open up with one of the T-55s. I think we're going to do the one with the command headquarters as well. So we're on the flip side. So now our firepower is looking 2 dice at 6. We're point blank range, so it's 2 dice at 5. However, we're stacked with a leader. That gives us 2 extra. Is it 2 extra firepower dice? That is the one thing I always forget. Or I should say I get confused. So let's take a look at our handy dandy chart. Maybe it's just an excuse for me to take a look at the direct fire modifiers table. HQ or leader command bonus. Add the command dice of an HQ or leader deployed to the firing unit's firepower. AP or HE? Well, which one's the firepower? Which one's the HE? Right here. Firepower, range, firepower to hit. So the firepower is the number of dice I'm rolling. So instead of having the 2 dice at 6, we now have 4 dice at 6, which doesn't really increase our odds that much, but it does a little bit. We might get nothing, absolutely nothing, yay. All right, so then we'll take the other unit that's stacked there. We'll do their 2 dice at 6, but they're point blank. Oh, that's right, it was a point blank range. That would have been 5s, is still nothing. All right, so instead of, so yeah, 2 dice at 5. For this one, 1 hit. All right, so well, we got 1 hit on them. And the Leos are 3 dice at 6, but they're in a woods. Does a woods provide a defensive bonus? Well, let's look at the terrain chart. Right here. So here we go. Defensive bonus right there. So it's the 5th column over. Rough City Woods, 5th column over. Defensive bonus for vehicles, 1d6. All right, so since they're in the woods, they will get an additional 1d6 armor save. Sounds kind of D&D-ish when I say it that way. So the Leo has 3 dice at 6, but they get a 4th dice for being in the woods. So they got 4 dice at 6 to try to save 1. And of course, I'll roll like 3 6s. No 6s. That's actually pretty good. So 1 hit gets through, so one of them is disrupted. At this point, it really doesn't make a difference which one because they're both the same at this point. All right, so that will be that unit right there. The disrupted unit can do something. So let's go ahead and just pull him back 1 hex to right here. Get him out of the line of sight of possibly being shot at. Recon unit. What do I want to do? Let's hold off on the recon unit. Oh, this is going to be very, very bad. I'm going to catch a lot of opportunity fire. But let's not make the big push yet. Let's go ahead and move these guys to right here. And that will keep them out of line of sight of this Jaeger over here. Because you may have a line of sight to them, but he's got going through 2 cultivated, so he can't see him. So let's just stage those guys right there. And then let's move these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, keeping them far back in the cultivated so they don't catch line of sight and thus any fire from the Jaeger. Got these tanks right here. Let's go ahead and spend 2 movement points to move out. I think, let's check. I know there's something special about moving out of a minefield hex. Let's check a minefield. Maschinenfeld, page 80. Now, if you're noticing, as I'm reading off a lot of these rules orders, or rules pages, you're kind of noticing there's only about a range of 20 pages, like pages 60 to 80. That's the bulk of the rules right there. I mean, this is a thick rule book. There's no getting around it. I mean, it's 140 pages. But really, most of the core part of the rules that you're going to need are only in about 20 or 30 pages. So do not be intimidated by the rule book in the least. This is very large font, very large graphics, large print, easy on the eyes. And like I said, a bulk of those rules are going to be within those 20 pages. So anyways, minefield. 16.2, which shows I was almost at. 16.2. I hate this. Okay. Eulens voluntarily exiting any minefield hex are not affected by the minefields at this time, but it costs 2 extra movement points to do so. All right, so 2 movement points to move out, plus we're moving into the woods, which our cost of terrain table says is 2 points for vehicles. So it cost me 4 movement points to move right there. And they're going to catch some op fire. We got 1 unit that is not op fired yet, so they're going to go ahead and op fire. So it's going to be 4 dice at 5, but they're at point blank range, so it's 4 dice at 4. And oh geez, 3 hits. That's not good. That's not good. So 3 hits. The T-55 has 2 dice at 5, but they get another dice for being in the woods, so it's 3 dice at 5. And 1 hit. Okay, so they saved 1. It ends up taking 2 hits, which is a disruption and a flip, which is distressing, but it could have been much worse. Oh, that's right. The disrupted unit can op fire as well. Oh, no, disrupted can't. Out of command can. All right, so let's make sure we mark the correct units. Ops complete, and the correct unit that's still disrupted. And this unit is ops complete. All right. You know, let's see. They've got a movement of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can assault. But it's going to be, well, I can assault with both the vehicles. It'll be 2 dice at 5. No, that's not smart. Not yet. Not yet. So I don't think we're going to move the infantry. Don't want to move the infantry down the road into the minefield. I could sweep the infantry this way, but they'll just get. I think the infantry's fine. I think the artillery piece is fine. I really don't want to move that recon unit up, because of lack of anything else, someone is going to shoot. Well, no, not really. Let's go 1. Actually, it'll be 2. 3, 4. No, that's on the ridge line. The woods are level 1, hills are level 2. That's still the ridge line, so they're still going to be able to catch all holy hell. So let's just go ahead and move the recon unit there. Okay. Well, no, let's be a little bit more tricky about this. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we can avoid that ridge line completely. Because if I can get up into here, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. That seems a little bit safer with the recon. The recon, it doesn't matter if the recon is within command range or not. They operate independently. They don't need to be. They don't need to stay within command range of headquarters unit. All right. Keep drawing cards. Events. I love the battlefield events table. Love the battlefield events. Where is it? Right here it is. All right, 2d6 for the events table. Oh, what is that? That is a 7, which is no battlefield event. Instead, roll 2d6 on battlefield friction, which is on the other side. Battlefield friction, and these are a little bit worth. A little bit more. 7, which is no battlefield friction. All is quiet. Alrighty then. Take away all my fun, stupid dice rolls. Next card. 1, 241st Panzer. All right, remove all disrupted, or not disrupted, ops complete markers. We'll go ahead and put the disrupted guy on the bottom again. That's all the marker removals. Marker removal phase, we just shuffle the cards, but no cards to shuffle. No offboard artillery after. Oh, command. 1, 2. Oh, yeah. What are we going to do with it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, they're out of range. Well, you know what? It worked out for them last time. Let's just keep it the way it is. Roll for out of command. We'll do the undisrupted Leo. Whoops, get back here. 9. Okay, so the undisrupted Leo is out of command. And the disrupted Leo is not out of command, so let's roll them to undisrupt them. Again, command rating 7. 5. Okay, so neither unit is disrupted anymore, but one of them is now out of command. Not that good. All right, so okay, cool. Let's go into pulling cards. Let's go ahead and see what the one unit in line of command, line of sight does. I have a feeling, yes, it's going to be fire or something. Okay, so fire. It's going to fire at something. Not really that big a surprise. Let's fire. Well, it's only got 3 units you could see. It's got disrupted and a couple undisrupted. So let's go ahead and fire it. A unit in there. So again, it's going to be 4 dice at 5. However, they're a point blank range. Those will be 4 dice at 4. Oops, get back here. I go knocking things everywhere. All right, that's 2 hits so far. And a 3. Okay, so 2 hits. T55s are 2 dice at 5. It could happen. Could negate those hits. But doesn't negate either one of them. It is going to inflict 2 hits, which is going to be first hit is disrupted. Second hit is an elimination. So we've got another wreck marker that's going to go there. And we have to roll against the headquarters to see if it is affected. A unit that it was in a hex with was destroyed, so it's going to be. Well, there's a 6. It would have taken the casualty step anyway. So what does that mean? It's flipped over to its backside, which now its command rating is only 1, and we temporarily put it in the suppressed. And I believe suppressed only is put. No, well, I'm not even going to get into that yet. So, not bad. The out of command unit. Well, let's pull for the out of command unit. See if he's going to do anything. Assault. Okay, it can't assault. Well, it can't move. It can disrupt. It can defensive fire, but it can't move. All right. So the out of command can't even. Shouldn't have even pulled a chit for that. You know what? I think we are going to pull for this unit. They're out of line of sight, but let's pull. Highest. Okay, so none of the primaries are going to go off, so we're going to go with the secondary. Highest FP AO closest to a PU that just acted fire. It has no line of sight. Disrupted AO closest to a PU. Okay, no disrupted. Highest firepower AO furthest from PU with low, again, nothing. Execute victory conditions. All right, well, victory conditions are going to be move towards the victory again, well, like we had earlier. On the victory conditions, what we're going to get to is closest to exit hex move towards, which is either going to be the infantry or the martyr, and I don't think we're going to move either one of those, so it could be the mortars. But no, I don't think they're going to do any of those. I think they're just going to sit right there. And I think we're going to call it good. Why did I pull a card for that? Well, I wanted to see if this unit could possibly have moved up. I pulled one card for it. None of the commands fit it. So, I could keep pulling cards for it until I get something that makes that unit activate. But, I'm just trying to let the deck do as much as it can. While also hypocritically not letting the deck do everything that it can. I know, I'm a bad person. All right, so that's that. Okay, so mountain panzers go again. Remove all, and it's basically going to be a repeat of what we saw last time. We're going to keep the headquarters back with the infantry. Roll for command for the undisrupted. 7, they're in command. The disrupted. Leo. 5, they're still in command, so we're going to roll for them to see if we can undisrupt them. 7, and they are undisrupted. A lot of good rolls on the West German side. All right. And since we pulled markers, reshuffle the deck. We got no offboard artillery, no other disruption to roll for, nothing like that. Let's just go ahead and pull for one of the units that are in line of sight. It's going to be a red. Assault if firepower is greater than the targets. Do we have... Okay, we're not going to assault into the minefield. We've already decided that, but we've got a single T-55 right here that our firepower 2 at 4 is greater than their 1 at 4, so they are going to assault. There is no op fire because it is already ops complete. So the assault is the Leos are going to have 2 dice at 4. So that's a 1 and a 2. So nothing there. The T-55 has 1 dice at 4, but it's disrupted, so that's a 1 dice at 6. Going to be funny if they get the 6. No. Okay. So results of the attack. The attacker did not get more hits than the defender, so the attack is pushed back. And the unit is marked ops complete and no effect to either side. Oh, one thing. I did one thing I've been meaning to say. I know I got my really cool dice tower the other day from my buddy. And people may be asking why I'm not using it. I got to roll so many dice in this sometimes. I still haven't found a good way to get the tray to work so the dice will pop out real easy. I'm still working on that. Again, huge thanks to my buddy Lee Harvey. for making that up for me. I am going to use it. I just don't want to use it in a game that requires me rolling so many dice right now, because the tray in that thing is really, really tiny, and I just need to come up with some other way to make the tray a little bit bigger, like sticking it in a separate box or something like that. But still, a cool dice tower regardless. All right, so let's go ahead and activate the other unit. If disrupted, low risk move. They're not disrupted, so fire. So they are going to fire. Even though if it were me, I probably would have assaulted, but that is neither here nor there. I could have assaulted with both units, I suppose, but I was just pulling for one unit. Yeah, so they'll go ahead and fire at this T-55 that's not disrupted right there. So it's going to be 4 dice at 5, but it's going to be 4 dice at 4 for being at point blank range. And we have 3 hits. So we're seeing that those 2 Leos right there are basically stopping my entire advance. All right, so it's 2 dice at 5 defense, but they're in a Rex hex. A Rex. W-R-E-C-K, not R-E-X. Back when I was in the service, we had a Alien, remember the Aliens movie, Sigourney Weaver? There was a Leading Edge came out with a role-playing game that was the Aliens role-playing game, and we were playing that when I was in Japan. One of my buddies, he had a character named Rex Havoc, Major Rex Havoc. Yeah, R-E-X. Yeah, so I always get a chuckle whenever I say Rex, W-R-E-C-K-S, because it always makes me think of my buddy's character Rex Havoc, R-E-X. Yeah, I know. I'm rambling while I'm trying to find the right chart. I just had it too. There it is. All right, so terrain. That's fine. Ready? Okay, ready. So, Rex marker. Movement is cost of terrain. However, defensive bonus for troops and vehicles is plus 1d6. Because again, they're hiding behind their dead buddies. So typically it's 2 dice at 5, but in this case it's going to be 3 dice at 5. Or did I already roll that? No, I didn't roll it. Oh, okay. No saves. All right, so it was 3 hits. Yeah, boom, they're dead. You don't place another Rex marker. Once you have 1 Rex marker in the hex, that's pretty much it. You're done. All right, so I've lost 3 platoons so far. I really haven't done much to the Leos at all. I think as before, we're going to pull 1 card to see what happens with this guy. Nothing in line of sight. So we go with AoE closest to a target, move towards. Oh yeah, we need to make sure that minefield marker goes there. All right, so he is going to move closest enemy target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which way would they go? Even odd, even odd, even odd. Yeah, that's one way to determine it. Even odd. Whoops, helps if I have. So it can either move towards this broke down T-55 or this reconnaissance. Is he really going to move towards a reconnaissance? Probably not. But you know what? Let's go ahead. And you know what? Let's draw a card for it. Let's go blue, even odd. So it's a blue 6. Is that a green? Yeah, that's blue. Even 6. So even odd. So it's going to move towards that unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all that's going to get to move. Everything else is happy. I don't think I want to do anything with anything else. They're covering the ridge line. I mean, I could, but that they would just be moving towards the enemy and just out of really good position. So we're going to be done with that. End of operations. That's the first end of operations card. And that means the last one will be the second end of operations card, which is going to be remove markers, which is also going to be shuffle the deck, which I will do off camera. And move up to turn 4. And I will shuffle those off deck, and I think we're all good and set and ready to step into turn 4. Again, thanks to everybody who's lasted this long. Again, well over an hour, but we got what, 2 turns done, or 2.5 turns done. So I'm happy with the pace of that. Again, these videos are not to show 100% how the rules work. If you want that, go watch Gimpy's videos over on the Lock and Load Publishing website. The videos that the boot camp videos that Nate has done. Nate is absolutely wonderful at doing the boot camp videos. If you want to see specifically how a rule works, check out his stuff. If you want to see how it's supposed to work in game, I'm probably the one you want to watch, even though I'm probably going to get some stuff wrong here and there. But I'm going to be able to show you how the game is supposed to roll, whereas he is showing you specific rules events. So I think both of our videos together work good hand to hand with each other. And honestly, I hope that these videos, for when this does get into everybody's hands, that they won't be spending too much time in the rule book and they can get right to the table. At least with my videos, you're getting a good idea how the game is supposed to flow and supposed to be played, and then it will expedite you getting the game to the table and beginning to enjoy this wonderful game on your own. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya!